Hey, how's it going? I'm getting excited. I always say I'm excited, right? Okay, this is your next activity, and so the purpose of this activity is to increase your confidence in your ability to produce a variety of different patterns, strokes, different types of washes. So I'm actually going to be using some of my food coloring, and I'm going to actually use a lot of that this time. Remember when I tried that Jello? Didn't really want to dissolve too good, but I'm going to use what I have, so I'm going to just use my homemade materials. Alright, if you picked up from school a piece of paper, you need a piece of paper, and I always try to use the heaviest paper I can get, and I want you to divide it into 16 spots. So 16, because we're going to do 16 different techniques. And I actually label them each wash, like graded wash, two colors, and label them all. Alright? We'll talk about the back in a little bit. So that means I don't really need this right now. This is what you should see. This is what I want to show you how to practice. Alright? So with that being said, I'm going to slide this over to the side and grab some paints. When I do a graded wash, I like to use a flat brush because I'm actually going to be painting and then just adding clear water. So I got to make sure I got plenty of room. And I got my sponge when I need that. Okay, feels pretty good. Alright, so first thing I'm going to be doing is, maybe I'll move my water, is I'm going to grab some paints. I'm going to kind of dip into this blue right here. And I'm going to do some stripes, one side to side. Now if you don't have a flat brush, don't worry about it. But then with water, I'm going to have you start painting just with plain water. So pretty soon, it just goes from dark to light. I'm going to try with a different color. I'm going to try the reddish color, the reddish food coloring. And I'm going to, again, paint a couple strokes. And then just with water, start to pull that value down. So a graded wash means it's gradually changing colors. Now you can use gravity to help kind of let it drain a little bit. If you have little areas, remember how you can take a little piece and soak up your puddles. So graded wash means it's gradually going from dark to light. Okay? I want to do this with two colors and two colors. Alright? So this time I want to have like a red, white, blue. Feeling patriotic. I could go for my reddish color. Put a little water there. Grab some of my blue. Put that down here. And hopefully, if I add just a little bit of water, I can get these colors to start to go together. So I'm going to use gravity. Blow a little bit. And start to have your colors start to go from one color to the next. Alright? I do this with rainbows. If I especially want to go like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, I'll just blend them all, make them really soft. Let's see what else I'm going to do. This is going to be a surprise. I'm going to do the green food coloring, some water, just plain water, and now maybe into the blue. And just see how that color changes, just kind of dramatically. Or maybe it's subtly. Ooh, that's gentle. Again, I'm just using food coloring. Okay. Inside a shape means I want you to draw inside a shape. Maybe a couple of them to experiment. So I'm going to grab a brush. It's not even a fancy brush. And, ooh, I should probably use a little brush, but it's what I got. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to have you paint inside your shapes. And then, just with just a little bit of water, put clear water in the middle. What happens is you start to get this really kind of cool looking dark to light. So I want to try that again. Again, if you've got a little brush, it works really good with a tiny little brush. So I'm just going to use what I got. I don't have the fancy stuff here. So I'm going to edge it with a brush. And then just get ready to paint with water in the middle. I got my water in here. And if I think it's really wet, I can soak up my middle. And you'll get somewhat of a dark to light effect. Alright? Crayon. Guess what? I'm at home. I don't have crayons. I dug and dug and dug and dug and dug. But the purpose of this is to put wax down. Now I'm going to probably use colored pencils, and they got wax in them. And I'm going to press really, really hard. So crayons or colored pencils. So learning and experimenting. So let's say I want to do something kind of pretty. This works great if you want to do like little starbursts. You can write your name, whatever you want it to be. Then let's take some paint, and I'm going to do something. Oh, I'm going to use that pomegranate stuff and paint over it. And sometimes if I can do it really good, I can get my, I'm going to pull back my colors, and then you can see what it looks like. So if it covered over the wax, it looks like that. This is the one someone did before with a paint crayon and painted purple all the way around the top. So that would work, and it kind of resists, because whatever you use for wax should resist the water. Wet on wet reminds me of like tie-dye. So I'm going to just put wet on my paper, and it's wet. You might be able to see the water. And I'm going to drip some colors in here. And I'm going to grab a little bit of this, and it's what it is. It's wet on wet. You can kind of get it to move the way you want to, but it's wet paint on wet paper. Alright, remember watercolor dries a little bit, like 50% lighter. Well, now I'm going to have some fun, and I'm going to work with salt. And I'm going to paint something really juicy. Yeah, I said juicy. And use regular salt and give it a sprinkle. Ooh, that was a lot. Holy Nelly, that was a lot. Let it dry, and we'll see what happens. Okay, a couple more techniques. Kleenex clouds. Have a piece of paper towel or Kleenex handy. And I'm going to have you paint just a little bit of a sky. And go bloop, bloop, and make some clouds. So I'm actually just picked it right up just like this. You don't have to say bloop, bloop unless you want to. Sponging means find a little old sponge, and this is getting crusty. This is the one that Emmett was like chewing on last night. But get some paint on there and start to sponge. Sometimes I paint with more than one sponge color. I use sponging if I want textures like on rocks or fish. I just like to get the little looks of little sponges. Negative space. Let's see what I got for brushes. I want to get something with a little tiny point. Negative space means I'm going to paint something, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. Alright? Okay, and I can't tell, but negative space means I'm painting on the outside. So I want something to show up. Alright, so I wanted my bee to show up. If that is boring, this person painted the background and left their little sparkly stars to show up. So, and this person left a moon with their white pretty tree and left that and just painted in the negative or the background space. Now rubber cement. If you have rubber cement, glue some on there. I don't have any rubber cement. I just had masking tape. The point of this is when you paint over it, you let it dry, and then when you're done you can peel that paint off, and hopefully your paper will be nice and white so it protects your paper. So we'll have to see what happens when we pull that off. Okay, 4 last strokes left. When you have a flick stroke, you're using your hand to make little flicks. I love this when I'm doing grasses or cattails, and I do little flicks. So it's like little wrist action. Yeah, I could change colors. This works lovely for grasses. Or let's say you're going to make some kind of really neat looking cattail. You can just do that too. Rolling brush is kind of fun because you actually take your brush on the side and you roll it. So this one, I'm going to try a bigger brush. Here we go. Oh, rolling, rolling, rolling. I had some blue in my brush, and I dipped it into another color, so I actually got two colors on rolling brush. And it's kind of fun. All right. Dry brush means your brush is getting really, really dry. And you're going to get into some paint, and hopefully hear the scratchiness. I just want a little bit of paint. So it should sound dry. This looks good for grasses and terrain and stuff like that. And the press stroke is actually from Chinese painting. And you take your whole brush and you set it down till it hits the metal. Just like this. It works good for little tracks. Sometimes I do it with a little brush. And I can make little flowers. I can make a fern. Just like this. And that's what you do for your press stroke. So this is what you see now on the front of your page. Alright, what's going to go on the back? Well, here we go. On the back of your paper, it says, combine and label 16 techniques. So on the back, here comes your freedom. You might want to do inside a shape and sprinkle a little salt in it. Then you'd write inside a shape with salt. You might want to do rolling brush with a little salt. Or negative space with, a couple flick strokes over the top. So I want you to combine and label. Don't forget your summative points, like what was your favorite new technique? Why'd you like that? And where could you apply this technique to create realism? So I want you to start thinking about those for summative. So when you're done, you fill this out and take a picture of it for Schoology. This is doing pretty good. It's still kind of drying. And this was mine like back in the day. And, oh, not done. Let's see. Oh, this is what a student did. Okay. So they did press strokes with salt. They did graded wash with sponging. They did flick strokes. And I don't know if the salt was on there or not. They did inside a wash and little flick strokes on the outside. They did flick strokes and dry brush. Double colored sponge. So just start experimenting and having fun, but make sure whatever you do on the back, you still have 16. That's your magic number to put on the back. All right, so you'll have a front, you'll have a back. All right, and this is what you're going to be doing for that very next unit. So, in fact, I'm probably going to post a couple pictures like this. Actually, in Schoology is a whole bunch of these advanced techniques. And you can peek at that PowerPoint. So enjoy. Again, don't worry if you don't have paints, because you can always kind of use up some food coloring or something. All right. Enjoy. I always want you to have fun. Bye.